Well, good evening. This is 9 o'clock at night on May the what is it? 18th. No, 19th. Sorry, day late. May the 19th, 2020. We're still in they call it lockdown deal or whatever. It's getting to be a real pain. They're I keep asking people, do you know of anyone who has this COVID-19 or coronavirus or whatever? No. Ask someone else, do you know anyone? No. So, you'd think if you ask half a dozen people that somebody somewhere would know of someone or heard of someone. So that's the part that sort of bothers me, that they're making all this fear mongering and I know that it seems to be affecting uh, care homes, but I guess that's sort of natural because uh, people in care homes are not the healthiest people. They they've all got most likely some kind of underlying, illness of some kind or weakness or taking pills galore for this or that, and which makes them vulnerable. So I guess, they're all together in one place. So if one person gets it, the rest all get it. That's why there's a high amount of them. The amounts actually coming out of care homes and whatever is, I don't know, but there's a huge amount, a big percentage. They're supposed to be opening up things starting this week, and we'll see what happens. I think it's still going to be, uh, not very good. This business of having to stay certain distance away from somebody because of you could cough or sneeze or do something. Okay, it sort of makes sense, all right. But to keep it up and keep it making it a permanent thing is not going to be good because people don't operate that way. People have to be able to touch and feel and shake hands and hug people and, get up and talk to them face to face and close by and walk with them and whatever. So that's going to there's going to be a spin-off on that that's going to end up being a problem because it's going to affect people. It's going to affect, they're going to make them more isolated in themselves from now on, which means basically more separate they are from themselves, the less they worry about someone else. The whole idea is, I don't want to catch something. I hope you don't, but it's secondary. If you got it, it's not as bad for me, as long as I don't catch it. So it's going to affect people in a pretty bad way. Even husbands and wives, I suppose, and everything else will get so that, can't be intimate anymore, or they won't feel like it, or they're afraid to, or whatever. Yeah, uh, we'll see. I know people are getting pretty tired of this, and there's things that I understand that they're rationing eggs now at Walmart because they can't get cartons for the eggs, so they can't supply eggs. You know, it's and that's just the start of things like that. That's what'll happen. Won't have this. Won't run out of that. Run out of this. I was getting close to doing that on a lot of things. But it's a problem. That's a big problem because this hasn't happened before, at least for over 100 years anyway. So a pandemic that is worldwide like this, can travel around the world, just proves how vulnerable humans are. Absolutely vulnerable. It could happen just like that. One little tiny thing, you can't even see it or whatever. Invisible. And I don't know, maybe it'll make people wake up and think, but it's hard to say. Hard to say. A, my wife is in a care home, locked in, nobody can go see her. I think the other day they said they were going to make it so you could come up to the window and kind of talk to each other or something if you wanted to. It's just, that's not good. Yeah, I can't believe, besides all the other things my wife's gone through, and now this too. And I just don't know. It's like she's being cursed because to have 2 heart attacks, a stroke, another mind damaging deal happened, plus a tumor on her lung, her back of her lung somehow. And the stroke has affected her mind, and it's affected a part of her brain or whatever, and I think I'm going to be on the right side. And I can't believe that, that person, I mean, why should she have to put up with all this? That's an awful way to, if that's how she ends her life, I think it's awful. It's actually like she's being cursed. I don't know. I prayed for her. I prayed for my children who have basically abandoned me. Don't want anything to do with me anymore. That's pretty sad. That dysfunctional. My wife started that. That was her doing. And I didn't pay to do that. But I pray for her, and it gets so I don't really know what to pray for because I mean, she's suffering. I ask that God does something about her suffering, relieves her suffering, or heals her if that's His will to do that. And I prayed a couple of times now, and I don't know if it's done any good or not. It won't happen if you don't pray, that's for sure. That's a fact. I understand my grandson has moved back from Toronto. And the gay community didn't treat him good down there, or what? I don't know. I don't know what's going to be happening. Become of him. Him becoming gay has basically destroyed our family. Yeah. Sad. Sad, sad, sad. The things go on. I'm well, I guess I'll go to bed about 10 o'clock or 11 or something tonight. I'm going to be up at, well, by 6 anyway, because I have to be in the hospital at 6:30, get ready for surgery. And I sure came close to trying to postpone it, man. I did pray about it and ask God to let me know if I should do it or not. I mean, and it seems like he has convinced my mind that I should do it. It's a prostate operation. But I started taking CDB oil. I think it's CDB. And I took a couple of bottles of it and I bought it out of the reserve here. And I couldn't tell a thing. I didn't think it was anything. I told him, I said, I think you're just selling me olive oil, calling it $40 olive oil in a little tiny bottle. So then I started buying it in town here, right across the road, right across the parking lot from me, actually, in a government-run store here that where it's all sealed and all this sort of stuff. And I was told to try the 50-50, or the balance. They call it the balance. It's about 50-50 CDB oil and then TCH or whatever the heck that is. I don't know. So I've taken, I think, 3 small bottles of that a month. Took 2. One I just basically started. And I'd take a dropper and a half at night. And the guy that was telling me this, he said, he slept better, this and that, whatever. Well, I have to admit, I think it does help do that. But also, I started to notice my prostate problem was getting better. And better. And quite a good flow where I was on catheters. I was using catheters for a while. That's how bad it was. Now all of a sudden, pretty good stream. But I'm still getting up like 2 or 3 times a night. And I'm not sure if it's emptying out, the bladder empties out, it's all or whatever, which I don't like because it's puts pressure on other things. Well, so I'm going to be there at 6:30 in the morning tomorrow. Yeah, May the 20th. And I guess I'll go in and they'll see what they can do. And and it sounds like I'm the first one on the list. Or we have to be there at 6:30 in the morning. Mind you, I'll sit around and wait anyway, I know that. Yes, politics still rolls on, man, oh man. The way it rolls on in the States, and now there's COVID-19, and economies are going all for pot, and jobs, people losing jobs by the millions and millions. And people going into debt and broke, and governments spending borrowed money. Canada spending borrowed money they don't have, that's for sure. The United States just writing, printing money like crazy. Trillions of dollars. I don't think they ever plan on paying anything back. The reason they can do that is that they're a world currency. They're the only country in the world that can print unlimited amounts of money without it affecting the value of their currency. Anybody else tries to do it and their currency goes down under the tube. We haven't had inflation, which could happen, and all kinds of different things can happen. It's funny what can come down the road that you have no idea. You know, if they claim we're living in the, end times, and there's pretty good indications that that's a fact. More than ever. It still might be quite a while till this world system collapses, but then again, it could happen very fast, just like this COVID-19. Just bang, all of a sudden the whole world is caught in something. And if something else came along now, a depression or whatever, well, that'll lead to some wars of some kind and upheaval of every kind. And that's most likely going to happen. When, I don't know. So that's the reason why I think it's really important to finally agree on, settle in your mind and everything, what it's all about, why you're here, what's going to happen, what happens when you die or whatever, because eventually that's the main thing. People live for so long and die, and then they get to the point they don't know what's going to happen, or what is it all about? Is that the end of them, or does something go on? Well, Jesus said, whoever calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. But I mean, I was just listening to somebody, and he said, well, you're saved. What you do to be saved today, you'll have to do tomorrow, because it's only good for today. You have to keep on doing things. You can't just do something on a certain day of the week and expect you to be good for the next 20 years. And the big thing is that you can believe in all kinds of stuff, but if you don't do anything about it or live that way, it doesn't mean anything. The world is getting, like religion is, not that that hurts my feelings that much, because I don't have much use for or belief in corporate religion, man-made religion, that's for sure. I mean, I never even thought about that when I was younger. I just went to church. That's it. Came out and then couldn't remember a word they said. Just went in, tried to sing a couple of slow dredge or diriges of hymns that were. That's why I hate. I don't like that. I mean, it's depressing hymns. Some of them. They're not. Nothing good and glad about them or upbeat about them. That's why I like gospel music, real gospel music, and or stuff that is, really spiritual music, good spiritual music. But That's, that's one of the reasons why I listen to the book of Revelation every so often. And I don't know how many times I'd have to listen to it till I actually could kind of know what it all says, because even listening to it, I mean, I listen to it, I recognize what it is, but then if I sit here and think about it, I couldn't recite off really too much of anything other than, the whole idea that that's the last book of the Bible and that's Jesus Christ telling John, the Apostle John, what is going to happen. And that's, let's face it, that's the last book of the Bible. That's the last thing he said. And he also says that anyone who reads this or hears it, whatever, is a blessing to them. And I think that's a very easy way to get blessings, because that certainly doesn't hurt to listen to the book of Revelation and to hear all the things in there. The thing is, I think it's chapter 20 or something, where it describes the city of God, where he tells an angel to go and measure it, and for some reason or other he can measure it. He must be in heaven doing that, I suppose, or wherever. Not here. But when he measures it, uh, 12,000 stadia, which is equal to 1,500 miles. You can figure it out, look it up yourself. Square. You figure that out? The city, 1,500 miles, like a cube, 1,500-mile cube. 1,500 miles high. That would hold a lot of people. That's like from here, Vernon, to Los Angeles on one side. I cut out a thing according to this map one time, and I took the coordinates on the map and whatever, so many miles to the inch and whatever else. I took it and used that, and then I drew a thing which would be equal to 1,500 miles scale on that map, and cut a square and tried to place it in Israel. Well, you know what? It was hard to fit anywhere on there. You could get it in on in the desert and whatever, came in a bit, all that. But it took up a whole pile of it, because I heard this one guy, he's a physicist, he writes, what is it? It's an internet thing. Reasons to Believe. And being he's a physicist, he's a scientist, and he proves things by science that the Bible says and does and whatever. And it's pretty interesting. That's what he does. And he's never been stumped on anything yet. But he says that the Bible says that when the new heaven and the new earth is done, it's purified by fire, that it has to be absolutely purified before God can come here. And he said, and it says no more sea. Can you imagine that? When you go to the ocean or Pacific Ocean or whatever, and you look at the water, how much water it is, 70% of the planet, water, surface. So to get rid of all the water, what's the planet going to be? Just a ball of sand, or it says that it's going to be redone, totally redone. And its river is going to run out of the city of God, run out into the land, and I think it says it's going to heal the land or do something. But this guy, Reason to Believe guy, says that if you had a 1,500 miles square cube on the planet now, it wouldn't be able to do that. The gravity of the Earth would pull it down one way side or the other. It just would pull it down. You couldn't build it and not have it collapse. Gravity would pull it down. So he said, obviously, there's not going to be any gravity. It doesn't need gravity. People will not be in physical forms. So they don't need gravity to keep their feet on the earth while the earth is spinning. Imagine the earth will still be spinning. At least I don't think so. I don't know. But he said there won't be any gravity because everybody will be in spiritual form, whatever. Gravity means nothing then. It's, you know, it's more than the mind can handle, which it says you can, man will never be able to handle these things. They're beyond our power of even imagination. And oh man, the makes you wonder how long it's going to keep going with the idea of profit motive. That's what drives everything. Drives business, drives jobs, business, economies, people, nations. Profit. If there's no profit, it dies. Now that's quite a thing that God has that built into the system. And this morning, everybody on the planet Earth had something to eat pretty well. There might be some people starving somewhere, but generally everybody ate. At noon they had something to eat, and tonight they had something to eat. And tomorrow they're going to eat again. Now, it takes production of some kind to do that. That is such a huge, huge amount of just produce and food. You know, I mean, you can't even imagine how much that is. Here in this town of Vernon, 50,000 people, trucks come in at night, fill up the stores, next day they're in again. People don't see them, it's at night. They just go to the store and say, oh, we're getting it from the store. Yeah, so the truck stop or whatever stops, bang, nobody would have anything. Not like when I grew up. There wasn't trucks coming to fill up things. We had to do it ourselves. And it amazed me, even when I was younger. I kind of knew that, you know, this was quite something. We were surviving actually on our own pretty well. I mean, we had cattle and pigs and chickens and gardens and grain and stuff we could sell and cattle and pigs and whatever. But just one little production unit. And then next door, down the road, half a mile away, is another one, and another one, and another one. Huh. They were actually ideal setups at that time. And they lasted for, you know, imagine 100 years, pretty near, till people started moving off farms, didn't stay on the farm, moved to town and sold the farm. Pretty soon there was no people living on a quarter section of land or a half section of land anymore. And lots of times it was a quarter section then. And those all got amalgamated into more and more bigger farms. Till now, especially, well, not so much around here because there's no big farming deal here. So there's farming, but not like out in the prairies. But now I guess, you know, in Alberta, in Saskatchewan, it's corporate. Big farms, a lot of acreages, all pulled into one central spot. And they're run as a company, a corporation, so big corporations. So I met a guy down at the lake. I've been down there a few times. He says he's a doctor, retired doctor, who tries to spend his winters in the Middle East, and Cyprus and Morocco, and I don't know, some other places. But he had to get out of there, and he was lucky to get out of there, I think. And he's pretty secretive about himself. The only thing he'd tell me is his name is Robert. And he has his van, and he's got it rigged up. I mean, he leaves it here when he leaves in the fall or winter. He tries to go for like 4 months, 5 months maybe. And he bikes. It's basically sort of a health nut in a way. He bikes and gets around with that. Nice guy though, very nice guy. But yeah. Well, I'm gonna go in tomorrow. I'm gonna have the operation. I hope it goes all right. I'm gonna pray that it goes all right. I'm gonna ask God to make it go all right, or have it go all right. I hope. I mean, going in, you never know what happens when you go in a hospital and get under surgery. You never know. I think it'll be okay. So, I wish there was more actually good news. One of the good things is it's May the 20th. It's getting warmer. It's getting spring. And that does a lot of good for a person, for everybody. I mean, it's just so obvious that people are controlled and by the weather and especially in this country where we have a winter. It's not the same in Barbados where it never changes, or Puerto Vallarta where it never changes. But here, when it gets to be spring, it affects people way more. April, May, and June here are meaning way more to people than it does in Puerto Vallarta or Barbados, because it's not the same. Here it's a radical change. It's just like the world is waking up and wakes up, but starts growing again and doing things after being basically asleep. And I think myself that it's most likely better for a human being to live in a place where there's seasons. And I think the more pronounce the seasons, tougher the people are. They are resilient, and there is kind of more growth production in a four seasons deal than there is in a zero season. They have a winter time, I guess, or a dead season where things kind of die off and then come back again, but it's not as pronounced. Not as pronounced at all. So I hope that his Nibs, the guy that's running this country now or in charge of it, doesn't screw it up too much anymore. Imagine he will, though, because he has nothing to lose. He doesn't care about it. He likes the power, I would imagine, and he's been committed to power, so he's doing a lot of bad things. He's hurting this country. It's not going to be the same Canada at all in a few years, and that's sad. That's sad, but that's the trouble with that is that's the plan, and that's the way it's going to go. And it doesn't matter what I think or you think. It's going to go that way. You get to watch it. That's all. You can't do anything about it. You have to adjust to it every day practically, because nothing stays the same. One day to the next, it's changing, changing, changing. You see the changes over a period of time, but you don't notice it at the time. And that is for sure. I know people think, I know that I think, well, it'll be like this tomorrow, the next day it'll be like this. No, it's not going to, something's going to change. And it's hard for people to accept the change sometimes because they don't like change. So anyway, I've got to stop now before I talk too much longer. And I'd like to say good night and God bless. Thank you.